everybody. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. A couple of seconds past 7 o'clock on the 22nd day of September 2025. And you know what that means? It is the first day of fall. First day. We are now in the autumn time. It was Anthony's 38th birthday yesterday. That's weird. I still think Anthony's 8 years old. I still see him as an 8-year-old. I can still hear him as an 8-year-old, but he's 30 plus 8. Anyway, lots of change. Lots of change. And we're kicking off a whole new, fresh week. The last full week of September. It's going to be right here from my cozy abode in Westchester, New York. We're here in Studio A. And we're going to be joined by Megan Fox in a few minutes. And we're going to be doing a special report. Last time Megan was on, I said, you know what? I have to make sure that she comes on once a month. Covers a couple of topics because I love her writing style and I like her broadcast style. She's just fun to talk to. So tonight, we'll be kicking a lot of things around. There's some announcements. I'll pay reference to a few of them just in general because they've made the news. Obviously, the announcements that were made today between President Trump and Secretary Kennedy about Tylenol, acetaminophen, autism, the vaccine schedule. These are all official releases. This is all coming from the federal government by ways of backed by Harvard studies and everything else. That is some stuff that maybe Megan comments on tonight, but we will definitely save for Thursday night when we have Jay Gulinello in, because I know he has quite a bit of information on acetaminophen in particular. And I know that he published something around this time in 2020 about acetaminophen on his Instagram page. So, Jay, like many other very studious men and women of science, have just been sitting around twiddling their thumbs, obviously working, but waiting for official channels to catch up to them. Then again, nobody was really lagging. There's always a reason why we are not being told the right things by people who have all the resources in the world to be on the right page. But that's another story. So I definitely want to get into a little bit about what was. I did not watch anywhere near the 9 hours of the Charlie Kirk memorial over the weekend. I stopped in here and there. I saw highlights from certain things. I got the gist, and it was really easy to take away all of the most impressive parts about it. But there is one question I want to ask people, and we'll get to that before long, and that is the limits of your forgiveness. What's the limits of forgiveness for you? Erika Kirk made a lot of people gasp when she forgave her husband's killer. And plenty of people said, I give her credit. I could never. I can't go that far. And what is forgiveness? Is it just a declaration? Is it just a declaration, or does it only mean something when you actually emotionally, spiritually release whatever that hold is on things? And what does it mean to forgive but not forget? What does it mean? So I definitely want to take your calls on that, and I have to imagine that there's going to be something on Megan's mind with all of that stuff. And yeah, so let's get started, shall we? Before we move on, just to remind you all that tonight we are, this Friday, I'm not going to take this Friday off. We're going to go right through all throughout the week here. But this Friday, I am going to give away this. That's it. This is the Electroculture basket. So we are collecting all of your names through Super Chats on Gold Pills, on Rumble, on YouTube, quitefranklysuperchat.com, collecting your name throughout the whole week. There might be nightly raffles, but this is going to be the grand one that we give away and I ship out to you on Friday. It's got the copper wrap sticks for gardening in pots. Got the Electroculture Practical Guide book by Yannick Van Doom. There's the copper-plated gardening tools in there, the trowels, a spool of copper wire for gardening, the Cultivate Elevate Pearl Powder, the Dragon's Blood capsules, and other stuff. There's Jane Barlow LDM 100, which is always good to have for cold and flu season. So all you got to do to be in it, to win it, is just send a super chat sometime over the next 4 days. All right? With that, let's get started. Be right back.
And it's going to cause me.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
That's right. We're taking a stroll through the park. It's autumn. It's autumn's Evening Breeze by Sound Providers. You know, that's some of my favorite things to do with all the things that we do in extra innings after the show ends and the end credits go up, they disappear, and I stay live for another 25 minutes over on pilled.net and quitefrankly.tv. We did it last week. We opened up the line for music dedications. And that just brought us down an incredible rabbit hole of music and remembering things and all that stuff. And it sounded good, man. It sounded good. That is a fun thing to do. Just music, radio, take requests, talk to people like Delilah. Delilah. I would love to get Delilah on this show. I've tried to book her before. Anybody else used to listen to Delilah? She's still out there. She's still doing her thing. That is some comforting radio. And, it became one of those things. First, you're rolling your eyes. And then it's just one of those things where you just, Delilah in the background during present wrapping season or whatever the hell else. And that's one of those shows where every once in a while somebody calls in to make a dedication to somebody. Then Delilah plays something totally inappropriate. It doesn't match the vibe at all. And that's why I said on Saturday night, call in with an inappropriate dedication. Say, this is for my wife, blah, 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 love her so much. And then it's like, ding dong, the witch is dead. Something that just doesn't match the vibe. It's funny. It's funny, that kind of discord. All right. So here's a couple of things just off the top before we make way for Megan Fox, who should be jumping in with us anytime now. The first one up is that President Trump just signed an order. This was today, not too long ago, officially designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, which of course they are. Section 1, Antifa as a terrorist threat. Antifa is an anti-militarist, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence and terrorism nationwide to accomplish these goals. It's not even just here, all over the place. Nick Shirley, that might be some of what we do tonight. I have one of Nick Shirley's latest. Obviously, he did not get into New York in time to be here this week because he's all over the world and he's got to do his thing. He's riding a wave, and he's just being taken where he needs to go right now. He's on the West Coast. He was in Arizona, in UK, in Paris, and he's interviewing Antifa in Paris. It's the same thing. They have the same old half-baked, goofy, incoherent views on the world and self-contradictory bullshit and all that stuff, but they just have a French accent. There's nothing different there, and this is what it's all about. We're a global citizen now. Global citizen. Blah, 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 blah. Everything's the same. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that. At the Charlie Kirk memorial service, people were speculating to what end has Elon Musk and Donald Trump buried the hatchet. They seem pretty, I don't know, nothing like a funeral to bring a family together, right? But they shook hands and hanging out and doing their thing, and who knows? As the world turns. Tucker Carlson said a little something. Like I said, out of the 9 hours, I watched little bits and pieces, and when everything was said and done and my family went home last night, I went on to the Rumble stream, and I just scrolled around looking for stuff and just observing whatever. Tucker Carlson, of course, had something to say at the memorial. Take a listen to this.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist, and it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
I listen to that fucking laugh. I mean, I understand what he's doing, but of course, this was retweeted by a guy named Jeremy Unplugged, and he said, did Tucker Carlson just accuse the Jews of killing Jesus during his speech at Charlie Kirk's memorial? Oh, man. Jeremy is going to be really shocked when he reads the New Testament one day. I know. Don't spoil it for him. He's going to be really shocked. Oh, my gosh. I wonder when Tucker Carlson, when he first laughed that laugh. Like, did Tucker Carlson, you know how people's laughs can kind of change throughout the year? I wonder if Tucker Carlson had that laugh when he was 7, or if it's something that just started happening in like high school. Anyway, we have my good friend Megan Fox with me. She is a journalist, author, writes for PJ Media, all types of amazing things that she has encountered and exposed over the years, whether it's Me Too or the tyranny of CPS and everything. Chief among them is her incredible appearances on this show, and it's so good to have you back, Megan. How's everything been?
Everything is good. How are you?
Well,
I like that jazz number that you came back in with. That was fun.
Yes, I love that. I wait all year for September, late September, to start mixing that one in, because the song is called Autumn's Evening Breeze, and I can't play that in June, you know? So I wait for that, and then it starts getting out of season around, I don't know, early December, but I'm glad you like it.
Well, it's perfect. It was perfect. I always like your musical selections. That's one of my favorite parts of your show is the music. So never stop doing that. I'm in agreement with you that it's always good to have. And Delilah, I was a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Delilah. I mean, who doesn't love Delilah? You gotta.
Oh, man, it just sets a mood at this point. And I have to go see if she's still on air, and I have to find a way to get her on the show. That would be an amazing booking.
Oh, she's incredible. She's had quite a story too. I believe she lost a child in a really tragic way. So she's had some tragedy too, which kind of makes her whole gig even more profound. You know, she's always leading people through sorrows. She's had quite a bit of it herself.
I was just going to say she has become and she has been a shoulder to cry on for many people over the years, because when one person calls in and tells their story, they are invariably telling thousands of other people's stories, and that's what makes, I believe, radio so magical, especially when you link it all together with some music. And that's but I'm glad we're on the same page for all that stuff, the music selections and Delilah. So what the hell are you covering lately? I mean, I don't know how we can all avoid certain topics. Of course, did you watch this memorial service over the weekend? Any part of it?
I saw parts of it, and I didn't watch the entire thing. My weekends, I never work on the weekends. I'm always with family, doing family things and spending time with my kids, because I work during the week a lot. So I want to make sure that I have that time with them. So I saw a couple of clips on Twitter, and I knew it was going to be a big deal. What I'm very impressed with TPUSA for putting on such a huge event in a short period of time. I thought they did a really good professional job from what I could see of it, but I'm particularly loving the criticism about how it's so political and, oh, this is just a show. This is just a political show. And why are there fireworks? And well, if you don't know Turning Point and you don't know Charlie Kirk, then maybe you would think that it was like a WWE event. But if you did know Charlie and you knew what he did with Turning Point, you would also know he loved fireworks. He loved pyrotechnics, and they loved, during their big events, they would always use them. And it was always a kind of a signature for a Turning Point. And they would also always celebrate, it was just a joyous event always. And I think it was perfectly fitting that they would use those at his memorial service. And it wasn't a funeral. That's the other thing that people were saying. Oh, it's his funeral. No, it's not the funeral. It's a memorial event, which is different. And I think it's a good thing that you don't allow that kind of darkness to take away your joy and your sense of fun. And if you thought for 1 second that a massive political star on the right would be assassinated and his memorial service would not be political,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Are you some kind of stupid?
Yeah.
This is going to be you. Charlie would be livid if we did not turn his untimely death into action, right? That was all about his entire career was about turning your upset into action, right? Turning it into something, that was, you could put your hands on, you could see, touch, taste, smell, hear. So if they didn't turn it into an opportunity for Republicans to make some kind of ground, I think he'd be livid.
There's been so much written and, of course, posted. That gives you a lot of, I know that we've seen a lot of the same things. I know you and I, because you sent me the link and I had already seen it, that there was this former Muslim who was really just astonished by how uplifting the entire thing was compared to what funerary services and reflections are like in Islam and all that other stuff there too. But it's also what is getting a lot of people talking, and I want to open this up to the audience later on in the show, is the concept of forgiveness. And I want to do some more news with you, but before we do all that, I want to ask you about this, because of course there's Erika Kirk, and there's been countless people saying essentially the same thing. Wow, she must be far better, stronger than I am. I would never be able to forgive. I can't do that. Or whatever. And I wonder, what is the limits of forgiveness, and what is it, how do people interpret it, and what is she actually feeling when she says, I forgive the killer? I wonder about that, because that is more of a spectacle for some people, because it's so antithetical to our nature as human beings to hold on to things. That's so far more outside of the scope of what we can process than fireworks, sparks and. So what do you think about that?
I agree. I think people out there are really taken aback by her forgiving the shooter. I know I didn't see it coming, although I wasn't surprised, right? I'm not surprised. I've been around Christian people all my life. And sometimes the level of forgiveness that I've seen in I guess, the good Christian people that I know always blows my mind, which leads me to believe I'm in the bad Christian category.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't have that. Whatever that thing is, I don't have it. So I guess I need to pray more to have it, but I don't, and I don't understand it. While I understand that some people, I think maybe Erika, in order to get through what she's going through, maybe it was something she had to do. And I understand, chat. Jesus said, you must forgive to be forgiven. I just don't understand, so close to losing your husband in front of you and your children, that you could be in a place to forgive that. I'm not going to argue it. I think she has every right to forgive it. And she's really the only person who can forgive him, right? That the shooter didn't do anything to us. He did something to her. And so it is her burden. It is on her to whether or not she's going to give him that forgiveness. On the other hand, I'll tell you where I land on this. I land on, I'm 100% in favor of Erika Kirk forgiving or doing whatever she needs to do to get past this. But I thought what President Trump said in his, kind of lighthearted remarks afterwards, where he said, I don't know about you, I know Erika is forgiving, but I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for him. And I thought, I think there's room for that too. Like, let's be honest that we see President Trump, he is the sword of the government, right? He is law enforcement. He should not be forgiving. His role is not to be forgiving of this stuff. His role is to go after and prosecute. And, I think there was a famous German poet who said, yes, you should forgive your enemies after they hang. Hang them first, then we forgive them. I'm more on that side. But I think it's interesting if you listen to if you're going to play these comments, it's actually really funny. You should. I think if you take these comments with Romans 13:4, if you're a Christian and you want to know is there biblical context for this, Romans 13:4 says, for the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid. For rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. And I think that his opinion here counts, and I think it's perfectly valid and biblical.
Let's hear it.
In that private moment on his dying day, we find everything we need to know about who Charlie Kirk truly was. He was a missionary with a noble spirit and a great, great purpose. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erika. But now Erika can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
See, I look at that and I say, well, that is definitely the more human representation of the more human knee-jerk response to being wronged, especially with as you raise the temperature on the severity of how you were wronged. It's one that we know that that 2016 and the 2020 and the 2024 campaign seasons were brutal. Then, but it seemed like something that really brought the animal out of him, and he, especially in 2016, that was just a lot of fun. And but this is, murder is a couple of steps above, just a couple of steps above a political campaign. So it's, it's crazy.
I mean, he represents the law. He represents law and order. I don't want my president forgiving creeps who do stuff like this before they are dealt with properly. I want my president and all of law enforcement to take that very seriously, to take that mantle of responsibility very seriously. And I want them to punish the wrongdoer. And according to the Bible, if you're a Christian, you believe that God has put into place rulers on earth that are there to do that are there to mete out the vengeance of the Lord. So that's what I expect. That's what I expect from my leaders. And I thought, yes, he was being lighthearted, but also there's some truth to it. There's truth in it. He doesn't need to be the one forgiving. He needs to be the axe right now. He needs to be the hammer.
You know, we were talking about this with the death penalty. We brought it. The death penalty came up on the show about a month ago, maybe a little.
I keep waffling.
I know we could
keep going back and forth.
Keeps coming back and forth, but I'll tell you, because I asked the question. See, if you have somebody that's on a train that is going on a rampage, or they just stab somebody and they're just they're running around, whatever,
yeah,
and they are an active threat and all that stuff, you are within everybody. I think most people believe you are within your right to put the animal down and to be done with it, and to out of the immediate interest of everybody's well-being around you. But it's incredible how the entire game changes once the person has been subdued and handcuffed. And now they have to be processed, and then comes the debate on whether or not we have the authority to take the animal off the face of the earth. You know, it's almost like we should have just got them when they were in the act of killing people, so that we didn't have to feed them for 30 years while they're appealing time and time again, while the ACLU is over there trying to keep them alive. Right. You know, so it's just one of those. We've been talking about it a lot lately. That just war theory, all of that stuff, and what actually constitutes an existential threat. So that's something that we toss around a lot.
The death penalty in general seems like a good idea, and it's what we always crave and want when these terrible injustices happen, right? We want an eye for an eye. That's what we want. But putting the government in charge of that is always where I come up with the problem, because the government is always so bad at everything it does, including putting innocent people to death, which they've done a lot of times. And so that's where I come up with my issue with the death penalty. But then when things like this happen, or like that train stabbing, I think, bury him under the jail immediately. Like, let's not even have a conversation about this. I don't even really need a trial. Like, let's just take him out and beat him to death in the parking lot. I'm fine with that. But there's a serious problem, though, with our government not being able to administer the death penalty properly to guilty people. And so that's where I always land on that.
I know.
I just don't know.
And you say, well, what is the government? Well, the government is people. And the problem is always with people. Now, you say one group of people work in this marble building over here, and the other group of people, the mob outside who thinks they have the killer, are ready to kill somebody that they don't. I mean, listen, anytime that something happens, the first round of tweets that go viral is usually people accusing the wrong person who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, the mob outside of the government was just as willing to kill innocent people. Just as
bad. You're right.
Right. It really is.
It's an unwinnable argument, really. I come down on both sides of this, and I don't. So at this point, I'm willing to let it be in the hands of the laws as they are. There are some states that allow it and some states that don't. And I think that's probably the way we should go. And federally, we still have the death penalty. And, again, I have to give to Caesar what is Caesar's on this. It's not really an issue I'm going to fight tooth and nail to change, because I don't know what's better.
Yeah.
I keep waffling back and forth. This is one of these issues where I could go either way. But on days like this, I think, where's the rope?
You're speaking for a lot of people right now. And, speaking of the ACLU, Jimmy Kimmel, after 400 artists, I don't know if this is this the reason why, after 400, I don't know, musicians, painters, mimes, street mimes, signed,
finger painters.
Exactly. Jugglers, fire breathers. After all these artists got together, signed an ACLU letter in response to Jimmy Kimmel's firing, the late night host's indefinite termination for propaganda surrounding the Charlie Kirk assassination has been turned into a week's vacation. He's coming back. You know what? It was professional justice for a couple of hours there. But according to Variety, Disney and ABC are bringing the comedian back to its scheduled Tuesday. Last Wednesday, we made a decision to suspend production on the show. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and those conversations we reached a decision to return the show on Tuesday. That's tonight. I wonder what he's going to say in his mind. This will probably be the only monologue that people cared about in years.
Well, I'm of two minds of this. It's either that they always intended to do this as a ratings gag because they knew that they could save a failing show for a little while with like this big, oh, we're taking him off the air, now we're bringing him back, and so he's going to have the biggest comeback he's ever had. Or they really did cave to pressure, and I don't think that if that's the case, that's not going to go well for them going forward, because all those Sinclair broadcasters I believe they were serious when they said, we're preempting him. We're putting on other shows. So you can do whatever you want to do. But there were like 26 or more affiliates saying, we're not going to air this program anymore. So if that's really what happened, then I don't think this is going to fix it, because I think that those affiliates are still going to be on the side of, we don't want to air this anymore. And the ratings are really shit. So what are we doing? His ratings have been in the toilet for a really long time.
I don't know. I really don't know, because if it's going to fluff them up at all, it'll just be tonight.
It'll just be, yeah.
It's just the same show.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And then of course people are very rightfully asking, well, does this mean Roseanne Barr gets her show back? When she was fired for tweeting some Planet of the Apes joke about
Valerie Jarrett, when she didn't even know Valerie Jarrett was a black person.
Listen, I didn't know
Valerie Jarrett has skin the color of mine.
I always thought Valerie Jarrett with her between her skin tone, her nose, and her Carol Brady hair. I was like, what are we talking about? Race? What are we talking about here? I understood.
She looks like a white lady, maybe Hispanic.
I don't know. I understood what Roseanne was actually saying about Planet of the Apes, because she has that rubbery look. She has that rubbery look.
Well, to be fair, in the movies, they made the apes look like humans. So it's not like saying this person looks like an ape. It's saying this person looks like a character that was humanized in this show, which was true. I'm sorry, but look at the thing and look at her. It's true. And it wasn't racist. It was just, a joke. But yeah, they had to fire Rose. I mean,
I know. I said she looked like my lunch lady. I didn't get it.
I knew that Valerie Jarrett was a black woman because I'm from Chicago and I knew all of Obama's gang, right? So I knew all of these people. But I could see how no one else would know this. Only people who are very connected politically would know these things. I knew who Valerie Jarrett was for a long time. She's from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. There's people, she was involved in stuff that I've been around for years. So I knew, but I wouldn't expect other people to know that. And I don't think Roseanne was being racist. I think it was just a joke, and people need to take jokes better. And yes, she should never have been fired from her show. What a crock. But as far as Kimmel is concerned, he truly, unless he better come out and apologize for calling the shooter MAGA. He better do that, because that's the only thing that's going to stop, I think, the continued call for him to be removed. And also, I never saw so many people get so upset about a guy losing his job, and yet at the same time be so thrilled that another guy lost his life.
This is why I'm talking. This is why it's not. It's just not. We're talking about two different species. When you compare one side to the other and how they operate, it's two different species and how as an organization they operate. And you're right. The standards are just completely mismatched and out of whack. It makes absolutely no sense. And yeah. There's a joke that most people who heard Roseanne's joke back in 2018 had to go and research to be able to understand even what the punchline was, because they didn't know, wait, why is Valerie Jarrett? Why is that racist?
Most people didn't even know who she was. And, it was a completely unfair thing that was done to her.
Anyway.
And I don't think that any of the cancellations and firings that have been happening because of the Charlie Kirk celebration of assassination that's been going on. I don't think any of them have been unjustified at all. When you discover that you have mentally ill, dangerous people around you, you need to get rid of them immediately. They need to not be in positions of power over you. They need to not be in positions of power over your children. When you discover that someone is threatening the very safety of your life, your children's lives, people around you, people you love, yeah, you need to remove them immediately from all civilized society. I am 100% on board with accountability culture, which is you keep your crazy to yourself, because if you let me see it, I'm going to tell your employer about it. Like, period. We just had I live in a very small town in Western New York. There was a huge protest here on Saturday to remove one of our teachers that was involved in this. He was one of the worst. He was the guy with the T-shirt that said, "Is he dead yet?" And that's a physics teacher.
I didn't even know this.
Oh, Frank.
Then again, it probably happens all over the place, but yeah.
It's bad. And when you see it happening in your own town, and I was very thrilled to see people in this little town stand up and say, no, you're getting rid of him, and you're getting rid of him for good, because we're not going to put up with it. And they were marching, and they had signs, and they say they're coming back every week until he's gone. He's been put on leave, but they haven't said whether or not they're going to fire him. But they have hired someone for his position, so I have a feeling that he's not coming back. But a person who can celebrate an assassination of someone else and then crow that he cannot be fired because he has tenure and he can do whatever he wants, that cannot stand in a civilized society. And I don't care what side you're on. If it's a Republican doing it, fire them. If it's a Democrat doing it, fire them. I don't want them in positions of power over me. I don't want them deciding who lives or who dies. No, it wasn't because of a shirt, Nikki. He put a post up. He was wearing the shirt that said, "Is he dead yet?" But the post itself was 1,000 times more offensive. It was he called Charlie Kirk a member of the Nazi party, and he made some really disgusting graphic comments about taking a bullet to the neck and how it was a dead, the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. Yeah, that's what he said. He said those sorts of things. And then he said, "Come after me. You can't get me fired. I have tenure." And this community stood up and said, yes, we can. And he's gone currently as of right now. And we'll see. I'm keeping an eye on that story. Fox News did a very large story on him. Luckily, I still have friends at Fox, and I made sure of that. and because, yes, some of these people need to be outed on a national level. And this guy was one of them. So
this has really just been, such a crazy end of the summer. And you're hoping that it's just, I don't know, there's going to be a lull. There's a lot of people come. Here's the other thing I would love to ask you about. And then you can, what time is it? Are we making good time? We have 10 minutes,
good.
Right?
It's only 7:40. We're good.
Okay. We have 10 minutes or 15?
We have
10 or
15.
Okay,
yeah.
About that. All right. So then I want to bring this up and ask you, because I think that we covered this on Tuesday or Wednesday last week, and I know you must have something to say about this. It's on the opposite side of looking at what's going on in the world from a criminal justice standpoint and the criminally insane and what to do with them and what constitutes self-defense and existential crisis and existential threats, to the other side where people are, regardless of where their starting point was politically, sociopolitically, as of even just a couple of weeks ago, are seeing manifestations of abject evil all around them, and they are asking just in public, just throwing everything out there. How do I pray? I want to go to church. I want to go to church. I want to do something I had never done before that I never gave any thought to. I don't know where to start, but I feel like I have to, because there is just no secular solution for the insanity that people that more and more people are seeing right now. You had to have seen these posts. What do you think about that?
I have. I can't tell you whether or not they're manufactured or bots or whatever, although I can say, because sometimes I wonder that. I wonder, like, are we being manipulated? Is this really real or what? But I will say that some people that I follow on X that I followed for a long time have been making these types of posts. Some people who are atheists, who are non-believers, people I've followed on Twitter for years, saying things like, okay, I'm an atheist and I came on here today to complain about immigration, but I can't stop myself from posting my thoughts about Jesus and I don't know why. Like I can't stop thinking about Jesus and I don't know why. And I do find it interesting, but also really lovely, because if Charlie had known that even 10 people would be talking about Jesus who hadn't talked about Jesus before, or thinking about Jesus who hadn't thought about Jesus before, or saying to them, declaring publicly, I think I got saved watching the Charlie Kirk memorial, I think he would have laid down his life that day, right then. And I think he would have done it voluntarily, because the only thing that mattered to Charlie, I think what we all have figured out, is the only thing that mattered to him was Jesus and leading other people to Jesus. And I think his wife is right when she says Charlie wanted to save young men like that. And I think that she's correct. She's absolutely 100% correct about that. And I have seen people asking these questions. People have been on my Twitter feed asking me, if I go to Catholic Mass this week, what do I do? I've told a couple of people how to do it. So it's like people are asking, or they're reaching out and saying, I want to go to church and I'm not sure if I will fit in there and how do I do it? And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for those of us. I'm Catholic, and so Catholics don't really do a whole lot of faith sharing. We keep to ourselves for the most part. We wait for people to come to us, and if they're interested, we say, yeah, come on in, come join us. But it's not really something that you're not out knocking on doors like the apostolics, And I just feel like this is a good opportunity. If somebody asks me and somebody wants to know, well, I'm certainly going to let them know. That post you were talking about with the Muslim girl who talked about how that really shocked me, actually. I didn't know this about Islamic faith, and I didn't know that during their funeral services that they spend a lot of time talking about the first night in the grave, which tends to terrify children. It's something about spending the first night in the grave. And yes, that sounds horrifying. And I found myself very grateful to have the faith that I have that tells me I will see my Savior, the moment I leave this earth. I'm not going to be stuck in a grave. And I think that positive message, how do we know? We're not going to, I don't know. Nobody's come back to tell us, but I do think that it counts, that you have a hopeful outlook on the afterlife, a hopeful outlook on life in general. And I feel grateful that I've had that. And I feel sad if there are cultures out there who have this, terrifying specter hanging over them. I definitely wouldn't want to be in that place. I hope it's all authentic, Frank. I've definitely had people reach out to me personally. So on that end, I think that's true. And I definitely noticed there were more people in church on Sunday. So maybe it really is happening.
Yeah. Well, the 4:00 Mass on Saturday was about the same this week. But it's all around me, and I've been getting texts and people asking questions and everybody just talking. You said something about authenticity, though. And let me just say, I think about this a lot here, too, because once you start seeing people make these little declarations on Twitter or something like that, where they are having some sort of a conversion moment or they're thinking about one thing or another, I can't help but being happy, because that's a good trend, that people would be thinking transcendentally about anything. You want to be able to transcend beyond what the hell this little rat race we have been mired in for so long is giving, all the options that we have been, it really can be depressing if you truly believe that this is all there is. And some people do, and that's fine. So when I see anybody thinking above and beyond that, that's a great thing. But
yeah,
rat race. We've seen people just in the last 10 years, so many who have come from the left, all the left to not so much a Republican, but a libertarian, still kind of a leftist conversions where, I'm not going to even name, I'm not going to name names, but there's quite a few. I used to be on the left and now Republicans, sit back and let me tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Sit back and let me tell you about and some of them have become really popular, where they are now like the lib whisperer. Like, let
Yeah.
me, like fucking shut up.
Yeah.
Just go. A friend of mine said once before about some of these OnlyFans models that were out.
I can't with the OnlyFans
I know.
becoming Christians
The
and then preaching to everyone.
Exactly.
Shut up, sit down.
What they said.
How about listen to some of us who haven't spread our legs on camera for a living? For God's sake, just shut up. Become a Christian, but be quiet.
See, that's exactly what they said. A friend of mine said, I was watching I talked to them a little bit later on, but it was about one or the other of all this rash of OnlyFans models that are now going out there and being so pious and all that stuff. And they use the phrase, they should retreat. I'm happy for your conversion. I'll pray for you and keep you in my intentions, but they should retreat to a life of prayer and penitence.
Agreed.
And
a total 100%, because there's no way that I'm ever going to believe that you're not still an attention whore, because you were whoring on one end, for the attention on that end of the spectrum, but you could also be whoring on this end of the spectrum too. So stop the whoring, go and be a whore no more. That's what I say.
Be a whore no more. You see, and Megan, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form. I'm in no position to become a gatekeeper to a religion. Because whenever I want to talk about,
but I don't want to hear from whores.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that much.
That's the baseline here. I'm.
Is that too much to ask?
Apparently, it is, because now they're charging for Bible study.
Oh no, Mo. Jin Sterick says ho no mo. That's exactly it. Ho no mo.
Oh,
I
man.
don't. Are they really charging for Bible study?
Oh,
See, that's a horror move.
Some of them have. So, well, what are you going to do? You have to restart your career somehow.
No.
But this is what I'm saying. I whenever I want to have a talk about anything that is on the spiritual level or theological level, I usually leave the lines open or bring on guests that could answer some questions. And I'm in learning mode. I'm going to be in learning mode for a long, long time. So I'm not leading any prayer groups anytime soon, but I'm at least in a place where I see these trends that happen with politics. And I also go, when I see what's going on right now, I say, great. I pray for mass conversion, but I also, if I get gate kept by one of these newbies, I swear to God.
I swear to God. I'm gonna put on the breastplate. I swear to God.
I swear to God.
It's gonna be the Crusades Part 2. I hear you. I could do an entire podcast on the whores, the ex-whores and the whores and all the whore podcasts and the whole thing. It's just everybody forgets that, Jesus had dinner with whores and then he told them to stop being whores. Don't be a whore anymore. Stop it. And that includes also, and he also, the Bible also says women should not be preachers. So also go in your kitchen and make some pies and raise some kids, but nobody needs to hear from you about this situation. Because it's just upsetting now. Everyone's going to look you up for the rest of eternity, and all of that shit is going to be out there. It's never going away because of the way we live now. And I'm not saying that a whore can't be reformed. A reformed whore is good, I guess, but also go live a life of prayer and penance. I agree.
Prayer and penitence, I believe. People in the chat room are actually giving they're coming up with some, I guess, what is this? I'm seeing, where we have naked naked Bible reading. There's a be a hoe.
In the chat said hoflation. The struggle is real.
It's bad. No, the chat room's always on point with this stuff.
Oh God, the chat's killing me right now. So, I have to tell you before I leave, you guys have to know what I'm doing on my YouTube channel during the day, because every day now from 9 a.m. till about 12 or 1 p.m., I am watching with a panel of hilarious ladies. We are estrogen packed and it is so fun. My panel of hoes, None of them are actual hoes. We're watching the trial of Carrie and Brady Timms. Now, I think I've talked to you about this before, Frank. We were talking about those medical kidnappings in Georgia. Do you remember a while back about the Hernandez family? I
Yes.
think we talked about. Well, this is Carrie and Brady Timms, same place, Children's Hospital of Atlanta, steals their baby with an underlying medical condition, claims it's abuse. Yeah, that's it. Tim's on trial, claims it's abuse, and it's not. The baby has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Well, they took this baby for 3 years while they charged them criminally with child abuse, both mom and dad. They charged them criminally, and they were acquitted by a jury of their peers because there was no damn evidence that this was child abuse at all. But we're watching that trial because there is footage of it that just got released. So we're watching that trial every day. You're not behind. You can jump in where you can come in tomorrow at 9 a.m. and just jump right in. We're playing bingo. It's so much fun. We have a trial bingo card that includes what a bitch and the C word. It's just a whole lot of fun. Trust me, because you will find all kinds of archetypes in these trials. These DCF workers we get to make fun of. That's one of them on there with you see the clown face with the eyes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have a ton of fun doing these trials, but it's also really good to put the state on blast for what they are doing, for what they are saying, for the lies that they tell and the way that they try to destroy your life if you don't toe their line, if you don't do what they say. We heard today the most outrageous thing I've ever heard from a state actor. It was this DCF worker. She was asked a question. So, did you ever witness Carrie or Brady Timms do anything wrong the entire time you had the case? She had a 10-second silent pause. We counted 10 seconds, which is very long. It's interminably long. And then after that 10 seconds of silence, she goes, well, no, but, well, they made it very difficult because they hired lawyers. Oh, I'm sorry. So they wanted their Fourth Amendment rights, they wanted due process, and that was a problem for you.
This is not the same case where the mother took her own life, is it?
No, that was Maya Kowalski, which I also covered on my and actually Carrie Timms, who is the mother in this case, has been joining me on the panel. Carrie's been there, and she's been answering all of our questions. We also have Jennifer Williams, who works for You Are the Power, Spike Cohen's organization. I don't know if you've ever interviewed Spike, but you need to. You would love him. Okay. Spike Cohen is fantastic. I can hook you guys up. He runs an organization that helps parents fight back against government overreach into their lives. He helps a lot of people with false, police arrests, all kinds of things. Anyway, he was on today. Carrie Timms has been on. Brady Timms has been on. I've got access to all the players in this case, and it's a great opportunity to really get to know another one of these cases and what your government is doing to you and what the government is doing to the people of this nation. And what I love about Spike Cohen and You Are the Power is that they attack it from a very local level. Okay. They go after specific judges who are doing this, specific DFACS workers who are doing this. They personalize it. They make it so that you're not going after the behemoth that is the system. We're hitting it one family at a time. So the Timms have finally gotten justice, and we're now watching that. And I would love to have all of you join me 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing it Monday through Friday until we are finished with this trial. We're not even halfway done, so there's plenty of time to jump in and join us. We're having a good time.
I hope people join you. That is right there at Megan Fox Writer on YouTube. Go hang out with Megan, and I'm going to keep up with you, Megan. I'm going to message you when I get off air tonight, and at some point tomorrow or wherever, we will pick an October date. We have to stick to once a month. I miss you too much when we go on for months and months.
Oh, I love that. And I'm happy to be here anytime. It's always a good time, Frank.
All right. Well, have a good one and talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
There you go, everybody. There is Megan. There she goes. Away she went. She's gone. Now what? It's you and me. It's you and I. Pudding and pie. I have a question for you, and we'll just go to a break, and then we'll come back and we'll just take all of your calls. Because what do you think? What do you think Was there anything about the Charlie Kirk memorial that rubbed you the wrong way? You can tell me anything. Did anything rub you the wrong way? Of course, you can count. It's almost innumerable, all the amazing things that were shown out there. The enormous turnout. Personally, I never seen anything like it. I'm sure people who were there and were actually among it. I think Zoso dude was actually able to get backstage or something. He was there not too long ago on his motorcycle, and now he's just outside of his home in Oregon. So he's almost back. But it's clear over 200,000 people went to Glendale, Arizona. And it's clear that an enormous mark was made on everything. That is just, and then everything just has been amplified by the actual assassination. But I don't know, man. I want to see what you guys saw, because that's all the surface level stuff. That's all the fireworks, the pyrotechnics, the sparks, and the big letter names. I want to know what you think. I also want to know what you guys think about the limits of forgiveness. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to read you some comments that I think were pretty interesting about that. And again, remember, send in a super chat to just be part of the show. It could be a joke. It could be whatever. You can contribute in whatever way, shape, or form. And it just so happens to put you in the running for an incredible electroculture basket that I'm going to be sending you on Friday. After Friday night's show, I'll announce it. Then on Saturday, I'll send it out. That's that. It's coming your way. One of you is going to win it. But in the meantime, you would be supporting the show and helping us in some way, little tiny way, all the best ways, make our goals for 2026 come true. Okay, be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Keto Brainz is your creamy, delicious, no BS ingredients coffee creamer. It's your complicated biohacking, neurotransmitter optimizing stack, but deconstructed and simplified. Keto Brainz is a focus-inducing, anxiety-crushing, and body-energizing tool for daily use. I concocted Keto Brainz for myself because I want to get the most out of every day I have on this planet. And I refuse to believe that I or anyone else has to live in a place of feeling suboptimal or imbalanced. Change your brain, change your life.
Welcome to Intermission.
Yeah, intermission.
Back to school, back to school. Well, here goes nothing.
Okay, well, I also would like your opinion on that other thing there too. Again, it's come up on this show a little bit before. We were talking about be a ho no mo, and the whole idea of prayer and penitence. When I think about some kind of a big social change, especially if it's a political conversion or even a conversion of faith, of religion, something like that, that is a earth-shattering paradigm. Or that's the shattering of a paradigm. It's earth-rattling. You know, when you're able to shift that kind of, that, you know, you're either your stance on on something and plant your flag in a different area in a political arena, that is still very substantial. That can affect everything. Your professional prospects, your social life. It is, especially when it's this polarized. But especially when you go from religion to religion, denomination to denomination, or from no religion and no belief that there is any God, no nothing like that, or agnosticism, right into the belly of, I need to go to church this Sunday. And boy, do I hope I feel something, because it's something desperate. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. And, like I said, I always pray for those conversions. But whether it's politics or faith, I also at the same time, I just hope that whatever journey they're on, they take it in responsible little ways, and they don't just adopt that as this is a new flavor of my public persona now too. And then, as they become more and more comfortable and not LARPing as much, and they just like start assuming the character, it starts, you guys have to know what I mean. I feel like after big changes like that, you just got to stay into a learning zone for years and just don't pick your head up. Not like that. You can't go lead a movement, 3 minutes after realizing that the old way of doing things was probably less advantageous for you than the new way. Because you never know 7 years farther down the road how much of this new revelation you will have taken and left behind, and perhaps have gotten a little bit more of a polished view on. We're always correcting. If I listened to myself from 12 years ago, I'd probably just get permanent, my face affixed into a permanent cringe. I guess the one thing is humility. If you put yourself out there and with humility, then maybe you have a little bit more grace in being wrong in a very public way. But that's not the way that people act on social media. And that's part of the reason why I think it's so important for anybody going through some kind of a change to kind of slink back and just be quiet for a while. Because one of the biggest reasons why we're so fucked is because we are not designed for this kind of exposure. As a whole, we are not designed for this kind of exposure with social media and the way that we've been able to just balkanize in just crazy little ways, and how the media has become so personalized. It's just been delivered intravenously. I mean, the biggest reason why we're so messed up politically right now, where we've gotten to the point where there is a considerable gap between people's approval ratings on the use of violence to be able to reach a political end, or the fact that more than 50% of your Democrat neighbors were okay with you being put into a concentration camp in 2020 and 2021. They thought it would have been prudent for you to be stripped of any kind of access to health care. This is all because of our relationship to what is the media now. This is all because of that. The things that we're saying, the things that are trending, the ideas that people have adopted, the phrases that they have adopted. This is all because of our relationship to new media, and how that has been really just slowly evolving and then devolving from about 2005 on, but it hit really a big fever pitch from 2008 onward. Barack Obama was definitely the first president that could not have won without social media. That was it. And then by 2016, the media was really just, we knew exactly what it was. The old school media. That was the last breath of their credibility. Now, unfortunately, they've been able to really entrance a lot of people into just sticking by them. Because sure, the media is flawed because people are flawed, but they would never say anything. They never do anything that would hurt us intentionally. and they can't be as bad as all those people who voted for Donald Trump. So at least I'm going to align myself with my favorite sock puppet on MSNBC, and to hell with everybody else. So that's how they've stayed around, just mind control. And what do we always talk about? We always talk about detoxing from media being a huge way to be able to break spells. You know? A huge way to break a spell. And that's part of prayer and penitence, I believe, to a degree. I think everybody can go through that. Even though my work, I'm in broadcasting, it's still incumbent upon me to try to find a way to make sure that there is large stretches of nothing for decompression and silence. The silence is everything. So let's take some calls. 914. What do you think about that? What do you think about the mass conversion from that standpoint? How you've seen people just like, hey, I'm a Democrat who has seen how woke culture has destroyed the culture. You know, I'm going to vote Republican for the first time, and everybody gathers around them. Like, wow, you used to be a Democrat. Yes, you give me hope, and it is hopeful when you see people move. But you don't make that person the leader. It's one in particular. Let's see here. 440, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, hi Frank. This is Cobalt Cat.
Hey, what's going on, Cobalt?
Nothing much. If I kind of sound kind of different because my throat's really sore, so excuse my voice if it sounds really low.
It's okay.
So two things quick. You were asking about the forgiveness aspect of it all, and then people who convert, whether it be to religion or one political party or another.
What is the limits? What's the limits for limits of forgiveness for you?
Well, for me, in my opinion, is I would forgive no matter what. However, I would say people still need to have a consequence. Like if someone did something wrong to me, you know, if I had a friend that kept doing things wrong to me or treating me bad, I would say, okay, yes, I forgive you, but I'm not going to sit there and hang out with you all the time or do things with you, or I'm not going to keep letting you treat me this way. I'm going to cut off this relationship. And you know, just the same, you know, I have a twin sister, believe it or not, and we are like best friends. And if something ever happened to her, if someone ever did something to her to cause her to end her life, yes, I would forgive that person. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be angry at them. And heck yes, I'm going to want them to get the death penalty all the way. So I would forgive them, but I would pray to God daily and ask him, you know, remove the grudge, you know, against that individual, because it's what Christ would want us to do. So that's my take on forgiveness. And then also the take on people that might converge to one religion or another, like, oh, I'm a Christian now, or I'm Democrat turned Republican, or Republican turned Democrat. I've seen in the past, growing up in a non-denominational church, where someone is very new to the church, and then all of a sudden they give them all these leadership responsibilities. Oh, because they're very charismatic. I think if they're going to converge or going to become a Christian, I think they need to sit in the faith for at least a year or two and grow and learn. And that way, you know, they won't get burnt out, or there's such a new person in the faith or political views or what have you. Yes, I think they need to sit and stew in it for a minute and learn themselves. So yeah, that's my take on your topics for tonight.
Well, thank you. That second take, I 100% agree on, and the first take, I think it just provides a little bit more to chew on, because I'm so split on this. Like, I don't know how to even process. I can forgive somebody, but I can forgive them, but I will still be angry or something like that. I wonder if without the releasing of anger, or without the dispelling of that anger, the hold that the anger had, because the anger is rooted to the impact that has been made on you by something that somebody did or something that somebody happened, and you're you're angry at something. It's either you're just angry that you have bad luck, or you're angry that somebody caused it for you, or whatever the hell it was. If you have not released the emotion behind that, then is not the forgiveness just an empty declaration?
And see, and so, and this is something that I have toyed with all of my life. And I have prayed to God every time I think like I've forgiven people that have wronged me in the past. And then those old things come up, and I keep, and I do ask God, help me, God, show me, I want to get rid of this anger. I feel like, and I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know, who knows? I wholeheartedly and within my spirit, heart of hearts, would want to forgive somebody no matter what, but it's in my human nature to still hold on to the anger, and anger can creep back up. But then I also have to ask God to help release the anger within myself.
Okay.
So I totally see what you're saying. It's definitely one of those things where I personally myself keep giving it to God and giving it to God and asking Him to help me with showing me, have I truly forgiven people in my past? Or, some people say, oh, forgive and forget. Or, well, wait a minute. How can you sit there and say you want them to be in jail or be in prison? Didn't you forgive them? And it's like, yes, I've forgiven them, but there's always your consequences. Just like what Megan Fox just said about she would want a president to be non-forgiving. And it's not necessarily, I feel like, just because you are, I say you can forgive someone, but you can still have them hold those harsh consequences for the crimes they've committed.
Yeah.
Like Trump can totally forgive his enemies if he could be a totally forgiving president, but also, yes,
Okay.
sorry, buddy, you
All right.
still got to serve your
Okay.
sentence.
All right. Well, Cobalt Cat, thank you so much. I want to see how people add on to that. It was a great call. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So limits of your forgiveness, limits of forgiveness in general. If I were to be honest with somebody, I can say, I'm not in a position where I can forgive you right now. Because if I told somebody, don't worry about it, I forgive you, and I don't feel it, then I'm just, what am I doing that for? So you feel comfortable, and I still stew with the thing you did, or whatever. If there was a real betrayal or something like that, not forget about even life and death. But how can you even forgive somebody about something less than that if you're really not over it? It's also an interesting thing to bring up that concept of forgiveness, but you still need to be punished. If you've been forgiven, if at least you are the arbiter of, if you're the one who is in a position to actually dole out the punishment, like you're going to cut somebody off, or we can't be friends anymore, I just can't trust you. If it's something that is a capital matter, when we're talking about capital punishment, I just don't. I don't know. That's an interesting concept there too. I forgive you because if I forgive somebody, I don't want to punish them. I feel like, hey man, let bygones be bygones. I can't say. It makes no sense to me to say, you know what? It's in the past. We all make mistakes. Let's just move on. But I have to slap you in the face just once. I have to slap you really hard. Open palm across the face. No, I forgive you. We're good. We are good. But I have to get you once really hard. I need to hear you guys talk about that for a little bit. 785, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, this is Molly Artie.
Hey, Molly.
I just wanted to follow up with what Cobalt Cat had said.
Okay.
And you were talking about forgiveness.
Yes.
And I think the way I handle forgiveness is I have an acceptance that they have now shown me who they are. And so I accept them for who they've shown me they are. So it makes it so much easier to forgive and then release that anger. Because now you know who they are because they've shown it to you. And then you can act accordingly.
So you see that as the pathway forward, without the anger going away. Like me logically, and maybe that's my issue. I'm looking at this too logically. I'm looking to exercise the anger and find better perspective on the situation so that I can actually make a conscious choice to release the grip on that emotional, that anchor right there, to release the grip, to drop the anchor. And
right.
but
and that comes with acceptance.
Okay.
The accepting of who they have just shown you they are. You see, it's I've had lots of slights, and it's family related.
Yeah.
And so you have to, you can't avoid them. It's not like a friend that slighted me. And so I forgive and accept and be thankful that they have shown me who they are. And then I can act accordingly. I can be careful about what I say in front of them because they'll turn it around on you, right?
Yeah.
Or, and the thing is, I don't have to be angry. I can pause and think about what is the best way to respond to, the narcissist, to just turn the whole thing around on you, because you're like, what? That's not what I was saying. But you don't say that because silence is better. You just look at them. But it's easier to forgive once you acknowledge that, they've just shown me who they are, and now I can adjust myself, because that's really the only person I have control over is myself. And I can let go of that anger once I've accepted who they are.
All right.
I'm not fantasizing that they're someone else anymore.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate this, and I want to tag. And is there anything else you want to add, real quick?
I think that was it. I was just like, it's so much easier. That's a path for me. And it works for me. And then I'm not angry because I can be thankful that now I know who they are.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do that to me again.
Right. I know. I think that's not my. And thank you for the call, Molly. I think that's my issue, especially with some friends that I really love, and I see changes happening that are nonsensical, and I actually know that are not good for them. I know that are unhealthy. That happens with me sometimes too, where I want to keep giving them chances because I just want it to go back to the way it was. And it's just like, and every time it's just like, wow, it's really over, isn't it? This was it. Anyway, yeah, I get what you're saying. Here, and we have a full panel of calls coming in. Keep them coming. I just want to throw a couple of comments out there. So that account, that cat turd account out there, was retweeted into my Twitter feed, talking about Erika Kirk. Said that she's a better person than I am. If you mess with someone I love, then you'll feel my full wrath. When she said I forgive him, it shook me to my core. I'm rethinking everything now. That was just the serving. It was the responses that I wanted to get to, okay? Someone said, Brandy said, same, made me open my Bible to try to figure out how forgiveness and fighting against evil are supposed to work at the same time. Anonymous guy says, I'm not rethinking anything. This is one of the things I hate about Christianity as a whole, the forgiveness loophole. I never forgive. I'll move forward with things, but I'll never forgive someone for killing my significant other in cold blood. That's a bridge too far for me to cross. I struggle with this too, says Anna. Sometimes I wonder if forgiveness is just letting people off the hook for hurting us. Here's another one. Forgiveness is truly one of the most radical ideas of all time. There's no possibility a human could come up with it. It's batshit crazy, yet it's real. Jana says, Erika Kirk found the strength to forgive her husband's killer, but I cannot. Is her faith deeper than mine? Great question. It's a question where, like, you know, in times where I'll have, this year started off in a very rough way, health-wise, for people around me. Scary, because there's just no real answers. And still, things are just hanging in limbo and all that stuff. But still, around January, February, things got really uncomfortable. And it triggered a lot of anxiety. I remember getting in touch with having conversations like that with Timothy Gordon off air and stuff about, you know, even when it comes to worries about health, worries about life and death and all that stuff, is that a crisis of faith built into it as well? Like when somebody who is so faithful has 100% faith that in God, in Jesus, especially if you're a Christian, of course, there's people who are of different religions out there. But if you have whatever you are into, if you're 100% in, all of that has implications to guarantees that are made about the life after this one. Why would anybody be afraid of death then? But of course, you know, people are afraid of suffering. People are afraid of leaving behind family members that need fathers or mothers or whatever. That's why people are afraid. I think most people are afraid of leaving too soon and having to suffer. But I thought about that for a long time too over the course of that dreadful do-nothing winter that we just got over. I was wondering about faith because, well, if I really believe what I believe, then why am I so frightened sometimes? You know? And I think that it comes into the forgiveness thing here too. At least in a way. All right, 914-200-0269. Let's keep it going. 619, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. It's Denise.
Hey, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing good. As far as forgiveness, there's been several people in my life that I really had held a kind of a grudge and where things were not good. And two of them were one was an ex-son-in-law and one is a son-in-law. And I mean, things were bad. And I took this class through church, and it was this book called The Bait of Satan, which is bitterness and offense is what the bait of Satan is. That's what he likes to do to, get between us. Mm-hmm. And what I did through that is I called like my ex-son-in-law, and I told him, I says, I want to ask forgiveness for anything that I did that caused you to be mad at me. And I just pray that you would forgive me also, so that it will be a blessing to you. And I did the same thing with my son-in-law, who is still my son-in-law. And it changed my life. The relationship is so much different than it was before. And it was just that little bit, I'm not saying that, if somebody killed somebody that I love, that I would be able to do it so easily. But I wanted to mend the bridges for one thing, because the one is my son-in-law and I love him, but he had done us wrong, And, but anyway, The Bait of Satan, and I forget who the author is, and I just bought one for my granddaughter here a few months ago because she was having a hard time letting go of things. And she says how much the book is helping her. So just a little something in case it might help somebody out there.
I appreciate it because you know what? There is something about just the description of that really relates to even the more the other off the beaten path stuff that we were talking about with like Rudolf Steiner and what entities on the other side use as food and why misery and grief is so important for controlling mankind and suppressing the flight of the soul. So it just the title of the book seems like it's going to pack quite a bit of parallel in there.
Yeah, it's a really good book. Like I say, I'm so glad that I had done that class and that I stepped out and I thought, they offended me more than I offended them, I think. But I just took it as, okay, I apologize for anything that I ever did, said, that might have offended you. And I just pray that you would forgive me, And they did. And and even the ex-son-in-law, I just saw him at a birthday party here not too long ago, and things are wonderful. I mean, it was ugly.
That's great.
So, yeah. So just a little something.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Okay. Well, you take care.
Take
Love
care.
ya.
Bye-bye. I love you too, Denise. Be well. All right. 850, you're on the air. What's your take on this? I think we're getting somewhere.
Hey, Frank. Thank you so much, man. Huge fan. And I just wanted to weigh in on the forgiveness thing, man. I think the Bible teaches us a real, big lesson there. What are the wages of death? I mean, what are the wages of sin, right? The wages of sin are death. And even though we're forgiven by Jesus, we all still have to experience death, a punishment, a form of punishment, but eternally we're forgiven. And I think no matter what, there's an example there of that no matter what, even though we're forgiven, there's a form of punishment that still ensues for humanity,
It's that's an interesting. That is at a much higher level. You want to talk about high stakes? Yeah, that's a great analogy compared to what I was talking about before. When you kind of split apart the idea of forgiveness, but also the need for some sort of price to be paid, and I guess there's none higher than what you just brought up. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
And who's this? I'm sorry. There's no more names on my thing here.
No worries. My name's Jonathan, but I go by Cap. Everybody calls me Cap because I'm a captain.
Well, there you go, Cap. It's good to have you on, and thank you so much for calling in. And I hope it's the first of many.
I will. Thank you so much, man. We're a huge fan. Our family loves you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. And I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay. And by the way, everybody, you know what? I'm going to stop right here for a second to say, we in 2026 we have some very impressive things that we want to start. It's going to take a little time. But I know that we have enough people in this audience to get there. Only about a little over 1% of the audience is a sponsor for as little as $5 a month. And when I tell you I am stacking up all of these things. I have goals that are based on talent. People like Matt and Jay Gulanello, Lauren, Aurora, how I want to stack and guarantee that these people are going to either be like Matt, be on once a week, Jay twice a month. I get more and more people saying we need at least one episode a month with you and Lauren. My wife loves it when she's on, all that. I said, okay. But there's other things in there. There's talent goals that we're putting together. There's also production goals. We have done so much good stuff since June 30th when we really established this social media marketing team finally. What I've been trying to do since before COVID, but we got a sizable bump during COVID because everybody was just home watching videos. But we brought on thousands of new subscribers across several channels. And we're actually very close to breaking into the 103,000 mark on YouTube. Wow. We should have a party just for that. So things are going in the right direction, but that needs to be tripled. So I want to be able to expand that. I also want to be able to establish a traveling budget where we can bring people in, have guests travel into the studio, me go and meet people. I don't know. Part of that survey that you guys are doing, we only have 48 hours left of that survey. The link is in the description of the episode. And if some of the mods can please share the survey link in the chat rooms, that would be great. It's only 3 minutes, and I don't think the trends are going to change that much. I think it's great. I think I have everything I need. But the more people do it, the more I will be able to get that United States heat map of where so many of the audience is, so that I know whenever we do have a little bit more funding to be able to go and do some remote broadcasts from Arizona, Florida, the Carolinas, the Ohio area, where there's so many of you, apparently. So many. This is all part of it. And if you haven't become a sponsor of the show, I say for the time being, if you are considering it, go to Subscribestar first, because Subscribestar has the progress bar that is going to lead us to 100%. Right now, we're like 60% of the way to halfway there. So I'm doing it in little steps. And every step along the way, new things unlock. And, you know, it's not that crazy that another 1% of the audience would sign on. I'll give you an example. Here's my last pitch for the day, because I don't do this often enough. Stick with me. Some people say, you know, Frank, I give in other ways. Every once in a while, I send in a super chat. Well, here's what I'll say. For $10 a month on Subscribestar or Patreon, you get into the mailbag. And the mailbag is essentially a super chat. It's actually like a blank check super chat. $10 a month, something that I can actually budget. I can budget for. And that is your ability to write in a question or a topic or anything that is read on air. So if you say, well, I give a super chat every month, well, then just become a $10 a month sponsor on Patreon or Subscribestar. And you essentially get to just direct message me, which is even cooler. Direct message me your super chat, essentially, a mailbag item, putting it out there, because I want this to be powered by the audience. I like having Keto Brainz on as my sponsor. I love that. But I want them, and I want it to be still 98% the audience. And that's where we're going to be able to have a lot of flexibility with the programming and have some fun. And so many people expressed love for the show. I just want to let them know that I'm always thinking of ways to making it better. That's all I have for you. Take another call or two, because I have this post I did not read the other day by a woman named Gigi Young. And she wrote something about martyrs when it comes to Charlie Kirk. And it involves Rudolf Steiner. Okay? A take about martyrs that Rudolf Steiner put out there. And it has some Christian mysticism in there as well. Just something I'll throw out, because we're talking about what are the energetic prices that are paid. You know, what's the price that is paid and gained for forgiveness, for assassinating somebody, to silence them, to take them off the earth? You know, what's the price that's paid there? That's something that is a price that needs to be paid. So I want to talk about that still. Let's see here. 360, you're on the air. Go ahead. Hello?
Oh, hello. Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can. Who's this?
My name is Miss Angelflower out in the chat.
Hello, Miss Angelflower. How have you been?
I'm just fine.
Well, what's on your mind?
Okay, so I called in about forgiving somebody who did you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So my 17-year-old grandson was poisoned by fentanyl in August of 2022 by his dad. And I forgive him.
Wait. Intentionally?
No, he didn't intentionally give him the pill. I'm sure he didn't know that the pill was laced with fentanyl. My grandson thought he was taking a Percocet, and he died instantly.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
It's been really hard, but I forgive him, but that doesn't mean that I still don't want to see him have consequences for what he did.
So I need to understand this, because you said it wasn't intentional. The father gave your grandson a pill because why? He was hurt, and he essentially just prescribed him something.
No. He is not with my daughter. And so he was living with my daughter till COVID hit, and he was 15. And at that time, he went to go live with his dad. And his dad, we didn't know his dad was as bad as we didn't know what was going on with his dad.
Okay. All right.
But the story that we were given or told by his girlfriend, my grandson's girlfriend, is that his dad brought home a bag of pills, Percocet, and wanted him to take them to school and sell them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
You know what?
And so
you don't have to relive.
yeah.
You don't. I get it now. You don't have to relive the rest of it. I understand what you. I understand your desire for there to be a price paid.
Right. But I forgive him because I know he didn't really mean to kill my grandson. My daughter, she can't forgive him, so we don't talk about it because it's hard enough for her. I don't want to upset her anymore.
What I don't understand is this. What we have read on the statistics that we have read on this show about those drugs, whether they are pharmaceutical grade, if it's Percocet, OxyContin, or if we're talking about fentanyl, straight up fentanyl. When you talk about bags of drugs that are being acquired for the explicit purpose of resale, and how is the father not culpable if he's the one that got it and then provided it to a child to go out there and actually push it?
Well, first of all, it's hearsay. We heard it from his girlfriend who was there at the time that it happened. And it happened in Washington State in King County, which happens to be the worst county in the whole state. So the judge denied the search warrant at the time when it happened. So that gave the father time to get rid of any other drugs that he might have had in the house. The phone that they actually recovered off of his body wasn't even his. And I mean, how many teenagers are packing around somebody else's cell phone and not their own? And then after the funeral and all that, his girlfriend, who was only 16 at the time, she would not cooperate with the police. So nothing's happened. There's been no justice or anything.
I get you. But you feel that your forgiveness, you can hold and categorize that separately from what you believe is still a need for there to be judgment and punishment.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness doesn't mean you get to waive consequences.
Well,
there are consequences for your action. If I didn't forgive him, then I would be more inclined to want to go out and seek revenge myself. But, for me, a life well lived is the best revenge that you can have.
Absolutely, especially if you are of the belief that there is a much more all-encompassing judgment on the other end of that life,
right? Exactly.
Yeah. So
I believe in the power. Righteous. There's righteous anger, and I know that God turns everything that Satan does for evil, he turns it into good for those that believe. And so I have peace knowing that somewhere, it might not even be in this lifetime, somewhere down the line, he's going to have to answer for his actions. And by me forgiving him, it relieves me of all that burden of being angry and wanting to exact some sort of revenge from him.
I thank you so much. Thank you for being so open about this, which is obviously it's awful to hear about, but thank you for bringing this up to us and bringing it to the show.
You're welcome. Thank you, Frank.
All the best to you. And this is what I'm talking about here too. It was probably at one point, or I've done it many times actually on this show, at least a handful, where someone we were so just, come on, they're in the crosshairs now. got them dead to rights when it comes to one crime or another. The evidence is stacked against them. Is there going to be an indictment? Is there going to be a perp walk? Is there going to be finally just something for someone? And it just never happened. Whether it was Russia related, dossier related, FISA related, didn't matter what the hell it was. I always said, well, I really hope that there is inescapable judgment that's somewhere out there. And I played that last, one of those eerie last scenes from the movie Ghost when Willie Lopez and Carl are dragged off to hell. You remember that? That's fucked up. That really messed me up as a kid, but I could never stop watching it. And you want to talk about imagery that kind of gives you pause? That always got it for me. That always, and it's still today, that groaning, that groaning where the shadows in the streets in New York just become these entities that come and grab him and drag him off, and the screaming. Oh, man. I'll tell you, man. That's a creepy-ass scene. Yeah, Nikki knows. That's a creepy-ass scene. So whenever I see somebody just kind of skirt justice here, I always think about the groaning from the shadows on the other side. Yeah, it was very effective. Very effective. Do I have it? Hold on a second. Do I still have it in here? You're dead, Willie. Willie. I do. We'll see. We'll see if I can play it in a couple of minutes here. I'll play it right before we go. Well, I'm about to kick off into extra innings. And we'll see what happens with that. Or, I don't know, is it going to get me a strike? Maybe I play it in extra innings. Ugh. God. Anyway, that's when people used to get dragged into hell. That doesn't happen anymore. Now the ACLU has gotten into purgatory. That would be the worst thing. The ACLU is behind the secretary's desk of purgatory. Don't worry. Don't worry. No. We can tie this up for at least 27,000 years. No, you're not going to hell. No. Take a number. Sit down. Go ahead. M169 says forgiveness isn't reconciliation. You can forgive, and the perpetrator should still face the consequences of their actions. Forgiveness can also take time, even if the words are uttered soon. Okay, so you're saying there. That if you utter the words, it can actually put the wish into motion? Because that's at least a little bit of validation of what I was saying before. The actual forgiveness can take time, even if the words are uttered soon. So it's an utterance of words. I guess that's putting a wish for forgiveness to take place sometime in the future. Maybe at that point, it's just a prayer. Because if I still feel like I want to slap you in the face, how can anybody in the room pretend that the forgiveness has been taking place? That's like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy by just screaming it. I declare bankruptcy. Gina Harris says, maybe this quote will help. When you forgive, you walk out of the prison you built for someone else. I had to forgive my husband of 14 years who abandoned me and our 3 kids. It was a choice to forgive, even though I didn't feel it in my heart at first. God, it's so messy being a human being. It's just so messy. It doesn't make sense. the chronology of it doesn't make sense. To forgive, and then one day you feel it's almost like a knuckle cracks, and you feel that relief, and suddenly it doesn't matter anymore. And that's that coldness that people talk about revenge being a dish best served cold. It's not about just, walking up to somebody and shanking them with a straight face on, That's not what that I used to think that. Revenge is a dish best served cold. That's just like you just walk up to somebody stoically and shank them in the ribs. No. It's you have released every attachment to the situation, and the other person has not let go of it, and suddenly they realize they don't have any of their talons in you anymore, and then they're in hell for a little while. Maybe that's what it is to a degree. Stowstube, thank you. Jay Britz says, Kenneth Copeland's Ho No Mo Ministry. I love Megan Fox. Thanks, Frank. Thank you. Grace with a very generous tip says, hey, Frank, I love your show and all of your guests, and I want that basket. Love to you and your family. Well, you're going to get it. Now, if Grace wins now, people are going to think that I rigged it for her. One of these days, maybe what I'll do is we'll say that I'll count all of the super chats. So right now it's just whoever, if you put it in there, you're in once. But maybe I'll just start counting everything. So if people put in a bunch of super chats, they can have like 5 things in the raffle. That's how a real raffle is anyway. But I like everybody having the same chances, so we'll see. How can I help people rig it for themselves? Shotzi, great start to the new week again. Thank you. And M169 says, read The Shack by W.M. Paul. By W.M. Paul Young? What does W.M. mean? Great book. Okay. Well, at least it's all written down here. Over on Rumble, Grandma Grateful says, forgiveness is a decision, not a feeling. I did lots of work on this one. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do Not Pass Go says, I've watched you, Frank, for 7 years, brother, and you've helped me so much with the information you give us all. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much for hanging out for 7 years. I've said it to a few of you in the chat, in the chats and the comments over the last couple of weeks. We are as thick as thieves, many of us now. On average, there's just I've got 10 years, I've got 15 years, I've got 8 years. Sounds like I should be giving you all coins or something like that. Dana the Powerful on Rumble says, take my money, Frank, you are the best. Show the internet, the best show on the internet, in my humble opinion. Well, with people like you, Dana, and everybody else out there who at the very least helps by liking, by leaving nice comments or comments in general in the comment sections after the show is over, by sharing it with your friends, that is how you help. That's how you help me make this show something more than it already is. That's all we need. More eyes, more people enjoying themselves. It all adds up. All right, over on Rumble, over on Quite Frankly.tv, the gold pills. I'll read through these, take a couple more calls, and we're into extra innings with Willie getting dragged into the nothingness. Oh, there's Willie Fix It. It's not that Willie. Willie doesn't deserve that. He's already had too much happen to him, getting hit by tractors and having his neck broken. I forgot whatever Willie calls him with some other kind of an extreme story about what's happened to him over the years. Thank you, Willie, for the cookie. Stephen and Laurie says, if you ask Google, it will tell you that the Jews killing Jesus is a myth, which is so stupid. There was nobody else around. It was just all Jews. Now, of course, there is a distinction because Jesus was preaching to Jews, to faithful religious people, humbled people. But we're talking about, of course, a pocket of powerful people who you could make an argument were not representing the faith, that were gatekeepers for gatekeepers for something. They more like mob bosses. But Google knows best. Who the hell was out there? It was the Romans. The Romans didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. The Romans wanted taxes. Everybody was paying. They were fine with it. Gambera, thank you. Amethyst Cat says, Happy Monday, Frank. Nathan says, I'm a part of the show, Frank. Part of the show. You damn right you are. Lynn says, I love Megan Fox. Me too. Crockett Man says, go, go. And ho no mo. Hit the dough for show mo. What mofo? Shit. Hell, you guys are killing me. It's like some Dr. Seuss shit over here. Fox on Socks. Is that the one that's like incredibly hard? Fox on Socks. Socks on. Hold on. Fox on Socks? Fox in Socks. Fox in Socks is hard. That is a hard one. Because I try to do all this stuff. Like if I sit down and I read Hop on Pop with Aurora, boom. Nail it every time. Fox in Socks, you're screwed. You are screwed. Ain't no way somebody's reading that in one take. Maybe they have. There's somebody on YouTube reading it in one take, unedited. No doubt about it. All right, let me get back to this real quick because we're doing well. The Sentinel says, when Peter asked how many times he should forgive his brother and suggested up to 7 times, Jesus replied 70 times 7. Don Vito in The Godfather forgave the attempt on his life, the murder of Sonny, but he had 2 more sons and swore he wouldn't forgive harm to them. I know, he killed them all. In the end, we are human and err. Others also err. Murder is extremely an abhorrent attack on individual and everyone that loves them. It is hard to forgive. And Mrs. Kirk announcement is an aspiration that she will be processing this for a long time. Love bomb again from Lynn, and Vesper says, I need that copper so I can send some crazy grown garlic to Anthony. I know. We need some electroculture garlic sent over here so we can marinate it and turn it into a decent salad, a proper garlic salad. Where's Fox in Socks? Fox in Socks text. Let's do it. Let me see here. You ready? Socks box knocks. Knocks in box. Fox in socks. Knocks on fox. In socks on box. Socks on knocks and knocks in box. Fox in socks on box on knocks. Chicks with dicks. Sorry. Chicks with bricks. Chicks with bricks come. Chicks with blocks come. Chicks with bricks and blocks and clocks come. I could have done so much with that. Why are you holding me back, everybody? Why are you holding me back? What could have been done with just that stanza alone? I'm trying to behave myself. There's children watching. Look, sir, Mr. Knock, sir. Let's do tricks with bricks and blocks, sir. Let's do tricks with chicks and clocks, sir. First, I'll make a quick trick brick stack. Then I'll make a quick trick block stack. You can make a quick trick chick stack. You can make a trick clock stack. And here's a new trick, Mr. Knox. Socks on chicks and chicks on fox. Fox on clocks on bricks and blocks. Bricks and blocks on knocks on blocks. Now we come to ticks and tocks, sir. Try to say this, Mr. Knox, sir. Clocks on fox tick. Clocks on knocks talk. Six bricks. This is when it gets bad. 6 sick bricks ticks. Tick. 6 sick chicks talk. Please, sir, I don't like this trick, sir. My tongue isn't quick or slick, sir. I get all these ticks and clocks, sir, mixed up with the chicks and talk, sir. I can't do it, Mr. Fox, sir. I'm so sorry, Mr. Knox, sir. Here's an easy game to play. Here's an easy thing to say. New socks, two socks. Whose socks? Sue's socks. Who sews whose socks? Sue sews Sue's socks. Who sees who sew whose new socks, sir? Whose new socks, sir? You see Sue sew Sue's new socks, sir. That's not easy, Mr. Fox, sir. Who comes? Crow comes. Slow Joe Crow comes. Who sews Crow's clothes? Sue sews Crow's clothes. Slow Joe Crow sews whose clothes? Sue's clothes. Sue sews socks, a fox in socks now. Slow Joe Crow sews knocks in a box now. Sue sews rose on Slow Joe Crow's clothes. Fox sews hose on Slow Joe Crow's nose. Hose grows, hose goes. Rose grows. Nose, hose, goes some. Crow's rose grows some. Mr. Fox! I hate this game, sir. This game makes my tongue quite lame, sir. Mr. Knox, sir, what a shame, sir. We'll find some new to do now. Here's lots of new blue goo now. New goo, blue goo, gooey gooey, blue goo, new goo, gluey gluey. That's right. Gooey goo for chewy chewing. That's what a goo goose is doing. Do you choose to chew goo too, sir? If, sir, you, sir, choose to chew, sir, with the goo goose, chew, sir, do, sir. Mr. Fox, sir, I won't do it. I can't say it and I won't chew it. Very well, sir, step this way. We'll find another game to play. Bim comes. Bim. And then Ben comes. Bing. Bim brings Ben broom. And Ben brings bin broom. Ben bends Bin's broom. Ben bends Ben's broom. Bim's bends Ben's bends. Ben's bent brooms breaks. Bim's bent broom breaks. Ben's band, Bim's band, big bands, pig bands. Bin and Ben lead bands with brooms. Ben's bands bangs and Bim's band booms. Pig band, boom band, big band, broom band. My poor mouth can't say that. No, sir, my poor mouth is much too slow, sir. Well then, bring your mouth this way and I'll find something it can say. Luke Luck likes lakes. Luke's duck likes lakes. Luke Luck licks lakes. Luke's duck licks lakes. Duck takes licks in lakes Luke Luck likes. Luke Luck takes licks and dakes lakes. Fucking dicks. Licks lick dicks. I can't blah such blibber blubber. My tongue isn't made of rubber. Mr. Knox, now come now. You don't have to be so dumb now. Try to say this, Mr. Knox, please. Through 3 cheese trees, 3 free fleas flew. While these fleas flew, freezy breezy blue. Freezy breeze made these trees freeze. Freezy trees made these trees cheese freeze. That's what made these 3 free fleas sneeze. Free fleas sneeze. Stop it. That's enough, sir. I can't say such silly stuff, sir. Well then, Mr. Knox, sir, let's have a little talk about Tweedle Beetles. And what do you know about Tweedle Beetles? Well, when a Tweedle Beetle fight, it's called a Tweedle Beetle battle. And when they battle in a puddle, it's a Tweedle Beetle puddle battle. And when they Tweedle Beetles battle with paddles in a puddle, they call it a Tweedle Beetle puddle paddle battle. And when beetles battle beetles in a puddle paddle battle, and the beetle battle puddle is a puddle in a bottle, they call this a Tweedle Beetle bottle puddle paddle battle muddle. And when beetles fight these battles in a bottle with their paddles, and the bottle's on a poodle, and the poodle's eating noodles, they call this a muddle puddle Tweedle poodle beetle noodle bottle paddle battle. And now wait a minute, sir, Mr. Sox Fox. When a fox is in a bottle where the Tweedle Beetle battles with their paddles in a puddle on a noodle eating poodle, this is what they call a Tweedle Beetle noodle poodle bottles Paddle, muddle, duddle, fuddle, waddle, fox, and socks, sir. Fox and socks, our game is done, sir. Thank you for a lot of fun, sir. Now get the fuck out of here. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you all so much. I will see you tomorrow night at 7, but we're not done. Go to pill.net for the last 25 minutes where we are going to just talk until the light goes out. Arrivederci. You son of a bitch.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Well, what can I say? The tongue's all warmed up now. Welcome, thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you to all my wonderful super chatters, and I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. You guys are just the best. Become a sponsor at Subscribestar. Let's do it. Let's do great things together. And tomorrow, oh boy, we have, who's it? Preacher Dan? Who's coming? Pastor Dave is coming in tomorrow. Near-death experiences. That's going to lead us into near-death experience polling on Wednesday. Oh boy, so much good stuff going on this week. Enjoy your night. I'll see you on the other side. I'm dropping the link in the chat right now. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody.